Hey, welcome back to Al's Canoe Kalamazoo. It's also a good time to join in if this is your first watch, since the canoe will basically be all put together by the end of this episode. All that's left to do is attach the Outwales, fit the seats and attach them along with the carrying yoke, and then apply some varnish. Al's been waiting a long time to see this new design realized, so let's show him what we're made of. Right now I'm just working on a dry fit and marking the ends to length, trying to get the end of this to line up right with this mark here. I think that'll look good. So I got the outwale cut to about the length and about the contour that I want, but my struggle right now is to figure out how to close this gap. I'm trying to find different ways of putting clamps with, I've got some of these old triangle blocks, just little pieces of plywood that I used way earlier in the build, and you could just barely see there's a little bit of sandpaper glued to the outside of it to give it some grip, because obviously all these angles are pretty hard to get a clamp force. So right now the gunnels are pretty much close to done. They could always use a little more sanding, but I think it's ready to drill some holes to attach the thwart. Okay, got the first one in. I put it at a little too up and down an angle. I was trying to angle it up this way a little bit more to give some more space down here. Kind of just got through at the end, so it's a little hard to tighten it, and it's so close to the edge I'm worried about this splitting here. So I'm going to aim a little further out again for the next one, and then the two after that. Yeah, the second one cut a much better angle. Alright, screws are in all 4 spots. It's not perfectly evenly spaced. Didn't do all that much careful measuring, but it works. Right now I am working on sizing the seats. I know how far front and back I want them to be from the center of the boat, and I know how high off the bottom of the boat I want them to be. Those are all built into the design. What I could figure out by the design, but I wanted to just measure it and cut them perfectly, is exactly how long do each of these need to be to fit smoothly inside of the boat along the hull. With the curve and how much the boat has kind of changed shape as we've taken it off the forms and done all the epoxy work, I wanted to make sure I got that measured out. So basically I just put this real thin strip of plywood that I used much earlier in the process, and I just lined that up center line of the boat, marked my center point, and then from there I just measure back to where I want the center of this frame on the seat, and then I used a square to extend that up to here, and then from those points I moved in to check the height. And I know from the top at the center, it's about 1 inch below the inwale that I want the height of the seat. So I figured that's about 1/3 of the way up the strip, and I'm just gonna extend that all the way to where this line is, and then check the distance from that point up to this point, find that length, cut the seat to that length, check out all 4 spots for both seats, and then fit them into place. This one is not quite ready. I need to do a little bit of shaving down on each of the ends of this one. Doesn't want to fit snugly up into place. And then from there we figure out, you know, the length of the spacers on every individual spot and cut those and put those in later. After measuring out the width of the hull where I want to put in my seat, transferred that length onto the seat frame, set more or less the right angle. Now I'm just going to cut that off with a saw, do a little more fine tuning. The first thing I want to do to tune the seat to the right fit is I want to get the angles right on the edges. So my main focus is saying, okay, we got a gap on the top and we're tight on the bottom, so let's shave off a little bit on the bottom, and the gap's about the same all the way across. This next one here, it's tight on the front edge but a big gap on the back edge. And then up and down's not too bad as is. So put a little Sharpie mark of what I want to take off. Sharpie mark here, and I'm just going to sand those off. Alright, so I got the seat shaved down to about the right length for all of them. I noticed that when I put it in place and I dropped my bolts through the holes that I drilled, they're a little bit cockeyed. They're not very vertical. So this one actually bored out a little bit more so that that'll come straight up and down. This one is close, but it's not as vertical as I want it to be, so I'm going to do a little adjustment on that, and then we should have plenty of room to line up with the holes on the seats. So while the canoe is not yet complete, at least we get to see it all put together in one piece. It still needs good coverage with varnish to provide some critical UV protection and hopefully a stunning finish that even Al can be proud of. Once again, thanks for watching. My name is Brian and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Next one is the final.